What's going on, guys? Tech Hub is here again. So in this tutorial, we're gonna look at how to build a PHP web service with no framework. So in order to follow this tutorial from start to finish, you need to have XAMPP installed and also need to have Postman installed. So now let's get started. I'm going to open my XAMPP right now, and I'll start Apache and also start MySQL. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is open PHP admin in our browser. So localhost slash PHP admin. And then we are going to create a database for the web service. So I'm going to name my database by itself, which is here. I'm running this query. So use database by itself, create table. So what this web service is going to do is that it's just going to create, read, update, and delete products. Basically that. So I'm just going to create it. Then we done. We have our products table here. The next thing we have to do is now go to our XAMPP folder. So mine is found in my C drive. I'll go to HC docs and I'll create a new folder which I'll call buy and sell. I'm going to open this with VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new folder here which I'll call includes. It is going to contain mostly the database files and the API files that we are going to use for the project. So in the includes folder, I'm also going to create a new folder called models. Then in the models folder, I'm going to create two files. One is API, that's PHP, and the other is database.php. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file which is config.php, which is right under the includes folder. So my config.php is going to have constants for my database. So my username, my password, and the database name are going to fall under this section. So PHP so there you have it. My database name is username is root. I have no password for it. The name of database is buy and sell, and then the server is localhost. So I'm done with this part. Now we go to our database file. This file is going to have a class that's going to help us run our queries, do our inserts and delete and updates and all that. So the class is going to be database. I'm going to declare some variables here, which are the host, the username, the password, the DB name. So you can see that the config, we declare some constants here, and that's what we are going to call here. So we have our database handler, the statement, and an error variable. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a method which is going to act as a constructor. Once I call this class, it's going to create a PDO instance for us and connect us to the database. So this here is the connection string, and then this is where I create my instance of the PDO. Now The next thing I'm going to do is have a couple of methods which are going to help me to easily insert, select, update, yeah, delete. So with this method, I can pass a query to it, and then in this method, I can also pass a query to it. So with this method is useful when you are doing an insert. You need to pass parameters. So I can bind the parameters with using this method here. These two methods, this method is going to execute my query for me, and this method is going to return a result set from my database or from my table. Yeah. This method here is going to return a single row from my table. So we are done with this class. The next class we go to is the API.php class. So this is also going to be a class. So class API. So I'm going to mention all the inserts, the select, updates, and deletes, and I'll reference them from the database.php class. So in this class, I have my database here, which I instantiate in my constructor. So that is here. And then I have this method to return my result set. And then I have this method which I doubt will be useful. So I'm taking it out. So outside this class, I'm going to initialize, create an instance of the class here so that I don't need to call it everywhere I go. I think once I get to a stage, the whole picture is going to be clear. So now I'm going to create a method to add products. So that's going to be my public function add product. I'm going to pass the product name. That name, I'm going to pass the product price. I'm also going to pass the product quantity to this method. So now I'm going to reference my db variable and then do an insert. So insert into products, the product name, product price, the product quantity. Then I'm going to add the values. So name is what it is. Price, and then quantity. I think that's it. Now, since they are parameterized queries, I need to use the bind function for this. So bind name. Then I'm going to pass the product name here. Find price. Sorry, I don't need to. Okay, I thought in Java. Product price. And then quantity. Product quantity. Yeah, my price quantity here, sorry. Supposed to be product quantity. Product quantity. I'm feeling lazy to type. So so I'll check if it's able to execute this function. If it is, I'll return true. Otherwise, I'll return false. So you guys can actually see that all these methods we are calling and stuff are from the DB here, are from this class database. So once we have initialized it, we are able to use it in our methods without having to, let's say, write the whole thing, which is going to make our method very long. So that's the cool thing about having classes and methods, to make your code shorter. So the next thing I'm going to do is I have another function here which is going to be for modify product. So it's actually going to follow this procedure. I have a query here. So right here, I think it says update product, set product name equal to name, product price equal to price, product quantity equal to quantity. Then I update the date where the ID is equal to ID. So if we are going to update, we need to use the ID to update the product. Now we're going to have a delete product method or function. I do more of Java, so I usually refer to my functions as methods in PHP. Meanwhile, but they're all the same. Method, it's called a method in Java, it's called a function in PHP. Okay, so that's for the delete product. And I have two functions for getting a product. So get product by ID. If I want to fetch just a single product using the ID, I use this method. And if I want to fetch all products, I use this method. Okay. So looks like we are done. We need to create. Let me just save this. We now need to create a last file, which is going to be includes and call it initialize. So what this file is going to do is that it's going to bring all the classes together, because you can see that even though I'm calling the classes here, they are still they still wouldn't be able to find each other without being brought together. So this initialize file is actually to bring all the files together so that whatever I've called here, let's say the DB server and everything, we'll be able to find it using the initialize class. So require ones. I'm going to use the require ones to just require them. So config.php. So it needs to be done in this order so that you don't encounter some errors. So I first call my config because my config contains my database details. Now I call the config first because if I'm to call the database .php file before the config file, it wouldn't identify these constants. So that is why I'm calling config first. And the last one will be our API class. So API relies on database relies on constants. So that is why it's following this order. Okay, so we are actually done with our database and all that. What we need to do now is to create a file that our web service can actually use to add a product, and create another file for deleting product, and another file for getting product and modifying product. So we do that. Here. I'm going to call it add product.php. This one should be outside my inputs. Okay. So add product.php, we need the initialize file to work. Since all the classes are placed in the initialize file, I'm going to set a header value of content type application /JSON with the character set of UTF-8. It is going to give a response an application.json format, and then I'm going to create an array for our response, for holding our response. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I need to grab the product name, the product price, and the product quantity from the user. So I have to check whether those variables are set in order for me to do that. So I check if, let's make it simple, if the name is set, and then if the price is set, and then if the quantity is set. Then now I'm going to do, if they are all set, now I'll actually pick their values so that I can work with them. So name, price, quantity, price, quantity. So I'm going to now call my API class, API add product. And you know that with add product, we just pass in our API. Since we actually instantiate our API here, we don't need to come here and instantiate it. So we can just call it, because the initialize file calls all these classes for you. So where is my add product? I pass the name, the price, and the quantity into the add product. So the name, the price, and the quantity. And I check if I get a true from this. I put it into my response array. So I put a status of 00 as successful and a message of product accepted successfully. If it's not able to execute, I have another response. I'll give it 06 here, and I'm going to say error inserting products or product or product. So now I'll echo the response out for user to see. So I echo it using JSON encode. This gives us the response in a JSON format. So I'll pass it right here. So now this is for when all the values are set. If they are not set, we need to pass a message to the user to let the user know that you need to set those values. So I'll just give it the status of 99, and then I'll just say required parameters missing. So I'll also echo the response to the user here using JSON encode, and then I'm done. So we actually done the add product API. I think we should test it. I hope we don't encounter any errors. But it's good if we encounter errors, we just learn from them. So open my Postman. I'll type my URL http localhost. Okay, buy and sell. I have it here already. So if I'm to just send a request right now, I should get required parameters missing or something. Okay, I have an error somewhere. This is on line 21 in API.php. So let's check out line 21 in API PHP. Line 21, line 21, line 21. What was the error saying? This variable thing. I actually can't see the error. Values. Okay, you can see that I didn't give it a correct array symbol. There's another error again. Really? I think we should go to go. I want us to get there. Hmm. Um. I don't see anything on line 21. Okay, so I think I found the error. I forgot to put the semicolon at the end of the statement. Let's try it again and see. So you see our web service is working fine. We're getting required parameters missing. So now let us place the parameters, right parameters there in the body. So name. So I'm going to call this my course watch. and then the price, we're going to set this price to $500, and then the quantity, we have about 3,000 in stock. So let's try. Okay, so we set this in our database successfully. That's awesome. Now let's check it in our DB. Alrighty, we see here. So our API is working fine. Now we need to do the same for modify and then delete, and then also get. So we create another class, another file here. No, we're not creating here. We're going to call this modify product.php. So actually we can just use the stuff we used from this class, this file, into the modify products file and make a slight change. So for modify products, we pass the ID, then we pass the product name, product price, and the product quantity. So I'm just going to change it to ID, and then we also need the ID here. So I'm adding the ID here. So ID, ID, ID. So product modified successfully. Modifying product. That's all, we good to go. So let me add a new parameter, which is ID. And when we check our database, we have the ID is 1. So I'm going to pass 1 here. Change it to modify product. Modify product.php, and I think we should just change the price to say $1,000. We will call this M's belt. So product modified successful. Let's check our database and see. Okay, so it changed to M's belt. All right, so we almost there. We are almost there. Now we'll do the same for delete product. So I'll create a new file as well. Delete product.php, and I'm going to put this here, right here. For delete product, what were we using? We leave the ID. So with the delete product, we can just scratch off the other ones. We don't need the quantity and all that, we just need the ID. Delete product. Pretty easy. Product deleted. Alright, deleting product. So that is all we need here. Let's check it out. So I'll just get rid of this. Delete product and run this baby. So product deleted, successful. Let's check. All right, so our product is no longer in our database. What else do we need? We need to get the products here. So get product is slightly different from the other ones. We get products, we don't need to check a whole lot of things to get products. PHP. We'll get products. I'm going to call. I'm just going to take this. Let's see this one, and then I'll call something results. Set the API get all products. So I'm just going to check. So check this result. I'll check if the count from the result is greater than 0. If it is, we should get a product. So let's copy this response. Message will be operation successful. Then the response should be in a product tag. So yeah. Or if not, then response failed. So this is 06. No products are available. So I'm just going to echo this response here. Okay. Let me create a new tab. I think we have no products. So if you have to fire it, we'll get this delete. It's products. I think for not found. I give the wrong name. Get products. Okay, so no products available. So let's try and do an insert. So add products. Versace wallet price. How much should we give? $450. We have a quantity of 500. So product says successfully. Now let's try and retrieve it. Okay, so we have our product here now. Versace wallet. Let's add other ones to our. So DW watch. So we're gonna give it a price of $800. We have just 20 in stock. Okay, so we have successfully built a PHP web service without using a framework. I hope you like this tutorial. The next tutorial, we're going to look at how to consume this web service in Android. We are going to consume it with retrofit. So we're going to add, modify, delete, and then retrieve using retrofit. So stay tuned. If you like this tutorial, make sure you subscribe and catch you another time. Bye bye.